So that's just a little bit about us and what brings us here today. But enough about me blabbering on. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Damini, and I'm 14 years old, and I go to Madeline Simons Middle School, and I'm in grade 9.
How did you get into things like writing poetry, and how did you start getting into portraying like a message in it instead of it just being like a personal thing?
So I got into poetry when I was 11. It all started when I attended a girls' conference at the MSVU, and I met my mentor, who's now my mentor, now Elle Jones, and I asked her if I could share a poem in front of all the girls at the girls' conference. The poem I had brought was called Black Girl Fly by Fumila Fagbamila, and she is Nigerian like me. So I read her poem, and it was awesome, and the feedback I got was great. After I read it, I felt like I was floating because I was just like so scared at first, and then I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, why don't I start writing my own poems too? Because she can do it, and she inspired me so much. So I started writing poems, and that's how it went.
I just want to hear some of your thoughts on, what it's like being like an outspoken Black female poet as yourself, especially being so young, and what some of like the struggles and challenges are like going along with that.
It's been hard, but it's also been okay because I have support from principals at MSMF, my fellow friends and readers, people who like to make a difference in the world, and people who are interested in social justice issues. So I have a lot of support from them. Like sometimes it's hard to get people to listen, I guess, and sometimes it's hard for me to get participation for my book clubs where people will learn. But I just think that whoever wants to learn and whoever wants to grow and whoever wants to be able to make a difference in the world has to be able to listen and learn and make sure that they're open to like hear what other people have to say.
Funny you mentioned your book club. I have here in my notes that you're a part or are leading an Afro-Indigenous book club. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So I created the Afro Indigenous Book Club in 2020, and I started it because of the events that happened in related to George Floyd, and I was like, okay, how can I educate my peers and the people around? So then I started the Afro Indigenous Book Club, and at the time, when I started the Afro Indigenous Book Club, I was a youth ambassador for Digitally Lit, but I no longer work with them now. But I started the book club with their platform, and the goal of the book club is to encourage youth of all genders and backgrounds to read books written by Black and Indigenous authors. And in most of our discussions, we usually read the book, have a discussion about it, ask questions, talk about experiences. We also sometimes touch on social justice issues, and we interview the author so that we can have a broader perspective.
We heard that you might actually have a poem you might be able to share with us.
So I have a bunch of poetry books. I have a blue one and like a beige one. So, but this one is my black one, and it has my freedom poem, which I wrote.
Our ancestors, stolen from the homeland, from the coasts of West Africa, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Senegal, from Gambia, from Congo. Captured, chained, tortured, and taken against their will, forcibly stripped of their dignity and culture. In their hearts, they knew they would never be conquered. Freedom would come. Standing on the shores, unknown and alone, their hearts and mother tongue severed with whips as they were sent on ships, learning languages that surrounded them, French, English, Spanish, Portuguese, they drew on power within them and persevered. They could have given up, but they didn't, because they knew freedom would come. Their shackles rubbed them down to the bone, arriving in the Americas to be sold, worked and used, worked as if they were cattle, brutalized like animals with no disposition or rights. They held on to faith, family, and song. With their heads held high in silent protest, through will and resolve, they knew freedom would come. They were forced to agree, just do and obey, but no, their souls would not surrender. Their souls grew, heated up and boiled over, causing them to revolt. Though at times they were not successful, their revolt showed that they would not be controlled. They would not give up without a wrestle. Freedom would come. Freedom without restraint, freedom without control, freedom without the power and dictation of another. August 1st, 1834, marks the day that they were freed, the day our hopes and dreams were guaranteed. In the face of systematic and legal degradation, we reaffirmed our humanity. Many fled from the grasps of slavery to be free. Our ancestors, Jamaican Maroons, Black loyalists, Black refugees with hopes and dreams for the future. Hopes for new beginnings met with racism, segregation, discrimination, and oppression. Today, we still wrestle with the lack of economic opportunities, inequities in healthcare, education, and housing, a justice system without racial equity. We still wait, hope, and pray for true freedom. Freedom to reclaim spaces, to be accepted by society, and not feel like outsiders. Like our ancestors, we persevered and survived through faith, family, and music. We cannot find our freedom alone. Emancipation is more than just one day. It's a process. We all need to come together to understand, listen, and learn to join this climb on the hill of emancipation for Black liberation, to be set free with the absence of fear, to experience liberty, free from racial stereotypes. For us to become one nation, for all people to be respected and valued, to be freed from all chains, to be equals, without judgment or assumptions. In our hearts, our freedom lives, and it cannot be taken. Freedom will come.
If, like, the people, we show this to people at our school, if they want to, like, hear some of your poetry or want to know more, like, is there anywhere they can go? Like, do you have any, like, videos of you, like, perform your poetry, or do you have any, like, written out or anything? Because I think after hearing you perform that poem, I think people are going to want to hear more.
I think the place where people can go is, I have a lot of videos on Instagram, which is at Damini. And I also put a lot of poetry on my Twitter, which is at Awaiga. So I'm also working on my website currently. So I'll have a